Joining us now to talk about this is the Daily Mail's Andrew Pearce and criminal barrister Kirsty Brimelow. Good to see both of you this morning. So the Home Secretary said very clearly Qatar poses, I'm quoting, a serious risk to our national security. And yet we don't have enough evidence to prosecute him and we have to release him. Is this right?
Well, it clearly is right, because our whole criminal justice system is you actually collate enough evidence to bring a charge, and then you prosecute, and then you take the defendant before the jury for the jury to reach their verdict. So if there's not enough evidence actually to even charge, then he must be released, and he's already served the equivalent of a 17-year sentence without charge.
Is it right, do you think?
No, I'm afraid not, because we have a Supreme Court here, which I think that the Italian government thought were not good for...
Prosecuted then?
It's not up to me to say that, but I could say there is a suggestion...
If it's so dangerous, why is he not prosecuted?
There's a suggestion that one reason he's not been prosecuted is because...
That I think people looking at the headlines this morning will instinctively feel, Kirsty, that is there a principle that Andrew's highlighting, that if we in our country feel someone is a national risk to us, we should have the right to deal with them as we see fit. Why should we bow to the European Court of Human Rights? We
certainly have the right to do as we see fit through a system of due process.
Not in this instance, it would seem, though.
Well, in fact, the factual position is that the Supreme Court made a determination in relation to torture of him. The European Court made a ruling in relation to evidence acquired by torture, and the Jordanian government has recently passed legislation to say that it will no longer use evidence which is obtained by torture. So there's been some movement. So, in fact, it seems that the European Court ruled on a different issue to the Supreme Court. So there is a difference.
But that allows him to go back to Jordan, doesn't it? That doesn't deal with the issue of whether we have the right to keep people in this country under lock and key that we feel are a risk to us.
Well, it depends what sort of society you want to live in. I mean, if somebody's overseas, for example, in Italy, and they are locked up without charge, then there will be an absolute outcry. And the Daily Mail, no doubt, will be campaigning about that particular British citizen. No, let me finish. That British citizen who has not done anything wrong, who has not been charged, that they need to come back and they should be released. If it's the other way round, if it's on the basis of nationality, then the Daily Mail writes in a different way.
Unanimity across the political his curfew proceedings.
Well, factually, that's not correct. It's going to be considered again in 3 months. But I mean, the position is that I'm not saying he's an attractive example. Of course, he's an extreme example of somebody that everybody's in outcry about. Why is he still in this country? He ought not to be here. But the position is that you have to abide by due process and collate the evidence and prosecute him.
OK, well, it's good to speak to both of you this morning. It's certainly a very vigorous debate that you two have had and across all our papers this morning. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Still to come here on Daybreak are the mums who don't bond with their new